Seeking the New Poetry. George Meredith, 1828 to 1909. Part 1. The Lark Ascending. He rises and begins to round. He drops the silver chain of sound, of many links without a break, its chirrup, whistle, slur, and shake, all intervolved and spreading wide, like water dimples down a tide, where ripple, ripple over curls, and eddy into eddy whirls. A press of hurried notes that run so fleet they scarce are more than one, yet changingly the trills repeat and linger ringing while they fleet, sweet to the quick o' the ear and dear to her beyond the handmaid ear, who sits beside our inner springs, too often dry, for this he brings, which seem the very jet of earth. At sight of sun, her music's mirth, as up he wings the spiral stair, a song of light, and pierces air with fountain ardor, fountain play, to reach the shining tops of day, and drink in everything discerned, an ecstasy to music turned, impelled by what his happy bill disperses, drinking, showering still, unthinking save that he may give his voice the outlet, there to live, renewed in endless notes of glee. So thirsty of his voice is he, for all to hear and all to know that he is joy, awake, aglow, the tumult of the heart to hear, through pureness filtered crystal clear, and know the pleasure sprinkled bright by simple singing of delight, shrill, irreflective, unrestrained, rapt, ringing, on the jet sustained, without a break, without a fall, sweet, silvery, sheer lyrical, perennial, quavering up the chord, like myriad dews of sunny sward, that tremble into fullness, shine, and sparkle, dropping argentine. Such wooing as the ear receives from zephyr caught in choric leaves of aspens, when their chattering net is flushed to white with shivers wet, and such the water spirits chime on mountain heights in morning prime, too freshly sweet to seem excess, too animate to need a stress, but wider over many heads the starry voice ascending spreads, awakening as it waxes thin the best in us to him akin, and every face to watch him raised puts on the light of children praised. So rich our human pleasure ripes, when sweetness on sincereness pipes, though naught be promised from the seas, but only a soft ruffling breeze, sweep glittering on a still content, serenity in ravishment. For singing till his heaven fills, 'tis love of earth that he instills, and ever winging up and up, our valley is his golden cup, and he the wine which overflows, to lift us with him as he goes. The woods and brooks, the sheep and kine, he is. The hills, the human line, the meadows green, the fallows brown, the dreams of labor in the town. He sings the sap, the quickened veins, the wedding song of sun and rains. He is the dance of children, thanks of sowers, shout of primrose banks, and eye of violets while they breathe. All these the circling song will wreathe, and you shall hear the herb and tree, the better heart of men shall see, shall feel celestially as long as you crave nothing save the song. Was never voice of ours could say our inmost in the sweetest way, like yonder voice aloft, and link all hearers in the song they drink. Our wisdom speaks from failing blood. Our passion is too full in flood. We want the key of his wild note, of truthful in a tuneful throat, the song seraphically free of taint of personality, so pure that it salutes the suns, the voice of one for millions, in whom the millions rejoice, for giving their one spirit voice. Yet men have we, whom we revere, now names, and men still housing here, whose lives, by many a battle dint, defaced, and grinding wheels on flint, yield substance, though they sing not sweet, for song our highest heaven to greet, whom heavenly singing gives us new, and spheres them brilliant in our blue, from firmest base to farthest leap, because their love of earth is deep. And they are warriors in accord, with life to serve and pass reward, so touching purest, and so heard in the brain's reflex of yon bird. Wherefore their soul in me or mine, through self-forgetfulness divine, in them that song aloft maintains, to fill the sky and thrill the plains with showerings drawn from human stores, as he to silence nearer soars, extends the world at wings and dome, more spacious making more our home, till lost on his aerial rings in light, and then the fancy sings. Some passages from the poem Modern Love, mentioned by Sri Aurobindo. Modern Love. Thus piteously love. Thus piteously love closed what he begot. The union of this ever-diverse pair. These two were rapid falcons in a snare, condemned to do the flitting of the bat, lovers beneath the singing sky of May. They wandered once, clear as the dew on flowers, but they fed not on the advancing hours. Their hearts held cravings for the buried day. Then each applied to each that fatal knife, deep questioning, which probes to endless dole. Ah, what a dusty answer gets the soul, when hot for certainties in this our life. In tragic hints, here see what evermore moves dark as yonder midnight's ocean force, thundering like ramping hosts of warrior horse, to throw that faint thin line upon the shore. Modern love, love ere he bleeds. Love ere he bleeds, an eagle in high skies, has earth beneath his wings. From reddened eve he views the rosy dawn. In vain they weave the fatal web below, while far he flies. But when the arrow strikes him, there's a change. He moves, but in the track of his spent pain, whose red drops are the links of a harsh chain, binding him to the ground with narrow range. A subtle serpent, then, has love become. I had the eagle in my bosom erst. Henceforward with the serpent I am cursed. I can interpret where the mouth is dumb. Speak, and I see the side lie of a truth. Perchance my heart may pardon you this deed, but be no coward, you that made love bleed. You must bear all the venom of his tooth. Modern love. By this he knew she wept. By this he knew she wept with waking eyes, that at his hand's light quiver by her head, the strange low sobs that shook their common bed were called into her with a sharp surprise, and strangled mute like little gaping snakes. Dreadfully venomous to him, she lay stone still, and the long darkness flowed away with muffled pulses. Then, as midnight makes her giant heart of memory and tears drink the pale drug of silence, and so beat sleep's heavy measure, they, from head to feet, were moveless, looking through their dead black years. By vain regret scrolled over the blank wall, like sculptured effigies they might be seen upon their marriage tomb, the sword between, each wishing for the sword that severs all. Modern love, a message from her. A message from her set his brain aflame. A world of household matters filled her mind, wherein he saw hypocrisy designed. She treated him as something that is tame, and but at other provocation bites. Familiar was her shoulder in the glass through that dark rain, Yet it may come to pass that a changed eye finds such familiar sights more keenly tempting than new loveliness. The what has been a moment seemed his own. The splendors, mysteries, dearer because known, nor less divine, love's inmost sacredness called to him, come. In his restraining start, eyes nurtured to be looked at, scarce could see a wave of the great waves of destiny, convulsed at a checked impulse of the heart. The wild rose and the snowdrop. The snowdrop is the prophet of the flowers. It lives and dies upon its bed of snows. And like a thought of spring it comes and goes, hanging its head beside our leafless bowers. The sun's betrothing kiss it never knows, nor all the glowing joy of golden showers. But ever, in a placid, pure repose, more like a spirit, with its look serene, droops its pale cheek, veined through with infant green. Queen of her sisters is the sweet wild rose, sprung from the earnest sun and ripe young June, the year's own darling and the summer's queen, lustrous as the new-throned crescent moon. Much of that early prophet look she shows, mixed with her fair espoused blush which glows, as if the ethereal fairy blood were seen, like a soft evening over sunset snows, half twilight, violet shade, half crimson sheen. Twin-born are both in beauteousness, most fair in all that glads the eye and charms the air, in all that wakes emotions in the mind and sows sweet sympathies for humankind. Twin-born, albeit their seasons are apart, they bloom together in the thoughtful heart, fair symbols of the marvels of our state, mute speakers of the oracles of fate. For each, fulfilling nature's law, fulfills itself and its own aspirations pure, living and dying, letting faith ensure new life when deathless spring shall touch the hills. Each perfect in its place, and each content with that perfection which its being meant, divided not by months that intervene, but linked by all the flowers that bud between, forever smiling through its season brief, the one in glory and the one in grief, forever painting to our museful sight how lowly head and loveliness unite. Born from the first blind yearning of the earth, to be a mother and give happy birth, ere yet the northern sun such rapture brings, lo, from her virgin breast the snowdrop springs. And ere the snows have melted from the grass, and not a strip of greensward doth appear, save the faint prophecy its cheeks declare, alone, unkissed, unloved, behold it pass. While in the ripe enthronement of the year, whispering the breeze and wedding the rich air, with her so sweet, delicious, bridal breath, odorous and exquisite beyond compare, and starred with dews upon her forehead clear, fresh-hearted as a maiden queen should be, who takes the land's devotion as her fee. The wild rose blooms all summer for her dower, nature's most beautiful and perfect flower.